this glare is insane. So I'll be very surprised if it doesn't tell me to take over. I do want to show you guys also how I do code and while I'm on the road. So I'm going to show you guys the platform that I use and how I use it and how I was able to achieve a full stack SaaS company just by coding from and to work in my Cybertruck. You know, I'll have a okay, so this is one of the things I was going to say now that we're here. So Cybertruck didn't do anything wrong. All right, what is up, guys? So it's been a minute since I made a video just reviewing the Cybertruck and the full self-driving. So figured I would put it on full self-drive right now. We're leaving my work. I live in Miami, so I work in Miami Beach. But it's about 35 minutes, 45 minutes, depending on traffic. It could take up to an hour to get to my house. So I just wanted to make a quick update on the Cybertruck, but also just kind of point out like some of the ways that Cybertruck has actually brought back time for me to do things that I want to do. I spend a lot of time on the road just trying to get to work and getting home from work. So those are like about 2, 3, sometimes 4 hours that I get back of my day. Productivity wise, something that I like to do on the side, and I actually have a business that I created through code by coding in the Cybertruck that is now live. So that is something that I've been able to achieve only because of the extra time that I've been getting back from using FSD. Now, keep in mind, it is full self-driving supervised, so you do have to keep your eyes on the road and pay attention to your surroundings while this thing is on. So you can't trust it 100%. And from those of you who know and are in the Tesla community, you know, Cybertruck is not going to be the best at full self-driving out of all the models. So you want to keep that in mind as well. Now, to be honest, it works almost perfectly for me every time, and I don't drive in the easiest city to drive in. Traffic can be very difficult, especially during rush hour when people are not letting you in, and you know, just cutting you off. So Cybertruck handles everything, even during rush hours. I really don't have to do much at all. There's very little things that I do have to do, and I'm gonna touch on some of the things that it does mess up, which doesn't even happen every time at all. So I'm just gonna point those out for you guys. Now, here's something that I'm gonna be interested to see. I have to turn on the wipers to make sure that there's no water because this glare is insane. So I'll be very surprised if it doesn't tell me to take over with this glare. I feel like it's been getting better. Now, if you do have a lot of dirt on your windshield, it's not gonna be able to see through it. So I try to keep the wiper fluid full. I do want to show you guys also how I do code and while I'm on the road. So I'm going to show you guys the platform that I use and how I use it and how I was able to achieve a full stack you know, SaaS company just by coding from and to work in my Cybertruck. So giving this little wiper some help here. So it would be very hard for me to see through this if I don't have this thing on, like the sunscreen thing, whatever this thing is called, sunshade. As you can see, it's very hard to see, and I would have to like really squint my eyes to even see through this. So the fact that it can do this, to me, it's impressive. But sometimes it does have to take over, so just keep that in mind. It happens sometimes. It doesn't really happen as often as it used to. If you have seen my older videos, it used to happen pretty quick once we hit any type of sun directly like that. So once we get to the highway, this is going to be pretty boring for the most part. So the main point of this video is to show you guys my process for coding. And for those of you who haven't seen any of my videos before, my name is JC. You know, I bought the Cybertruck almost 2 years ago now. I was one of the first few to purchase it out of the Foundation series. You probably can't see it on the camera, but I can show you if it shows. 18,443 miles on it. Like I said, it's a long drive for me to drive to and from work. So I do put a lot of miles on this thing, and I can say honestly, it's been one of the best purchases that I've made. People ask me all the time if I regret it. I don't. This is like, you know, like I said, it's given me time back, worth every penny. I don't know about you guys, but time is something you really can't buy, and I would argue that you can if you purchase a Tesla. So there you go. And I think it's super comfortable. I love the look, and I'm gonna save that review video for a different video to tell you guys the things that I do like and don't like about it after 2 years, because there's not everything's perfect. But yeah, guys. So this is my drive home. I'm not gonna comment too much on the drive, since there's not much that's gonna be happening that I think myself is worth pointing out, and letting this video be an hour video. So I'm just gonna show you guys what I do in the car to make myself as productive as possible while still being safe and keeping an eye on the road, paying attention. So I built this website. It's called my AI coloring book, myaicolorbook.com, and I'm gonna go ahead and screen record now so you guys can take a look at it. Alright, screen recording. So this is my aicolorbook.com. It's something that I built after my wife started posting. You know, she's a graphic designer, software developer as well, and we're both into, like, you know, all the coding stuff, and it's what we do for fun. We're super nerdy, and one of the things that she does is, you know, with her graphic design background and everything, she does coloring pages and clip art, and she sells it on Etsy. Well, we realized that there was an issue with how efficient it was to even try to create coloring pages and clip art if you're trying to use AI. So we came up with something to be able to do that in bulk. That's what this is, just a little background on the system. And, you know, and I created it to help her, and, you know, with her business. And look at this glare, man. Cybertruck handling everything fine. Anyway, back to the point of the platform. I built it because I saw a problem she was having, and if she was having that problem, then a lot of other people were having that problem. So now we launched it, and it's available for people to use, and I have some users already on it and paying to do the subscription, so that's great. And, you know, I was only able to achieve this because I was taking up a lot of my time in traffic to code this using this program, which a lot of you might be familiar with, Lovable.dev. I know there's a lot of different platforms that do the same thing that Lovable does, but in my opinion, it's been one of the easiest ones to use. This video is not sponsored by Lovable, but if they want to sponsor me, I will take it happily, because I already love their product anyway. But it's not sponsored, so this is just my honest opinion on why I use this. I also use it because I can use it on my phone. So one of the things I wanted to do is be able to code while I'm in the car in traffic, especially whenever it's taking me 2 hours to get to work or from work. So if you're stuck in bumper to bumper during this drive, then, you know, I can use Lovable. Now, the way I use it is, obviously you can see what's on the screen right now. So if you're moving around here, you can see what's going on. I'm not gonna go into detail about what everything in the platform does. I'll make a different video for that. You know, I'll have okay, so this is one of the things I was gonna say now that we're here. So Cybertruck didn't do anything wrong. I don't like taking that road. I don't like going that way, and I wish that they would just give us like an option so that you can just select the exact path you want it to take, because I prefer to go this way, but it always tries to go that way. And I understand why, because if you don't use the express lanes, that way is probably faster. But I prefer this one because I like to use the express lanes so that I can get home faster. I'm sure that might be faster sometimes. I just like this route. It's just a preference thing. Don't judge me. So this is I-95. A lot of people try to avoid I-95 actually, so it might be more popular to go that way. But now that I pointed that out, it didn't mess up, so it wasn't really a disengagement because of any reason like that. Another thing I noticed before is that I kept having to force it to go to the express lane, which now it actually does it on its own. I think it's still trying to go the other way, so it's not gonna do it now. But on your maps, if you have a Cybertruck or a Tesla, if you prefer to take the express lanes every time and you want it to always do that on its own, when it's not trying to go a different route, there's a button in your maps that allows you to turn that on. It's in the settings. I'm gonna put that on the camera. You guys might be able to see it or might not be able to see it. I might have to edit it. But when you go to the navigation settings, let's see if it actually tries to switch over. Might not. I'll let it try. Use HOV lanes. You have to turn that on. Otherwise, it's not gonna try to get onto the express lane at all. It'll actually just avoid the express lane. But if you turn that on, it'll do this on its own. So if this was the path that it was already trying to take, it will actually do this part on its own. Like I won't have to like force it and press the blinker on to force it to get onto the express lane. So just a quick tip, because I only found that out a few weeks ago and I've had this thing for almost 2 years, and I wish I would have known sooner because I got tired of doing that. And in some of my videos you might see me doing that to force it to the express lane. Once I found that out, it does it on its own. So quick tip and a lot of sidetrack just to explain all that. But I also like to drive with this on because I don't know, I just like to see everything around the truck at all times. But yeah, see, scenarios like this where people are just being dumb on the road, it does it fine. It slowed down, you know, it didn't slam on the brakes. And then the rest of this drive is gonna be boring. We might hit some bumper to bumper traffic and come to a stop. But back to the video of why you guys are here. How do I code? I use Lovable.dev. I use the chat mode, and today I'm going to be adding a feature that I wanted to add to the platform, just so you guys can see how I do it. So anyway, I need a marketplace on my platform so that my wife can post her listings and digital products on here as well. See, so this car is fully stopped. The Cybertruck is stopping right away, so you guys can't see that. Waymo can't do that. Anyway, bumper to bumper. Maybe that's why it was really trying to go the other way. Whatever. I still prefer this. More time to code. So back to the video. So anyway, I want to add a new feature to this. It's gonna get very boring if you're not somebody who's trying to see how to code something, or if you want to see my process and how I overcome like different obstacles along the way. Today it's gonna be something very straightforward. I'm gonna show you the process. We basically go to the chat feature here, and you just tell it what you want to do. So you want to add, in my case, I want to add a new page. A page that's not existent yet in the platform. Another tip that I can give later on in a different video is how to create separate your live environment from your development environment, which is something I did already for this, so I don't have to worry about the users just seeing a random page pop up or something breaking, because it is completely separate from what's live, except the database. I still haven't found that out, and I'll find that out soon. So now we're here. You can ask it to do whatever you want to do. You can literally just talk to it, and then you just check the work. We're gonna add a page. Currently we don't have a page in to get to a marketplace, although we do have some terminology called marketplace in the explore page, which is currently not displayed. It's hidden. So what we want to do is add a drop down here. It's going to be the marketplace. We're going to call it something else because I believe we have something already called marketplace for the explore page. Don't ask me why. So I don't have a plan for this specifically, but I did want to use it as an example. So we're gonna call it, I don't know, shopping, I don't know, store. Yeah, store sounds good. Let's just go with store. We can change it later. All right, so we're gonna talk to her, we're gonna press this right here. I want to create a new page on our platform. I want to call it shop. Actually, I said store. I want this page to be called store. This page will allow users of the platform to come in and purchase pre-made bundles. For now, we're only going to focus on the UI of this page. Create the page and then create the listings UI. After we do this, we will move forward on the next step to create the UI for when the user clicks on the listing. But for now, we're only creating the page with the UI for the listings. The UI for the listings should be similar to what Etsy.com uses for their UI when they display listings, except this will be sold directly from our platform to the user of the platform. Make sure that the UI matches our existing theme that our platform is already using, so that it flows with the rest of the platform. Okay, so keep it simple. I don't know, you can say whatever you want, as long as you can envision it in your head and you can explain it in words, then all you gotta do is hit send. If it's not perfect, you fix it. So we're gonna go ahead and see how it looks, and I'm gonna create a series in my channel for this, and I also have another project that I want to work on just to show you guys from scratch, like my process on how I build something from scratch. Everybody has their own process on how they do it with AI. I know something about coding, but I'm not an expert coder or anything. So the fact that we can now build full stack platforms with a back end, front end, database, all that, like that's game changer for somebody who has an idea and just wants to implement it. And without Cybertruck, I wouldn't be able to do this. Like right now, I would have to be paying attention to the car in front of me. I would be using a lot more mental energy. So this would be super exhausting if you were trying to, build this out while you're trying to drive, and probably not the safest thing. But as you can tell, this is safe. I'm not looking at my screen. I hardly look at it when I'm talking to the AI. I only talk to it, and I'm facing forward, and then a quick glance to see what changes it made. Now I still use my desktop when I'm home if I'm gonna go into like deep like back-end database type of work, but for UI and simple stuff or simple edits or changes to your existing platform, you can do that with Lovable. Okay, so it made the changes and it shows that. So we just come here and then we gotta sign back in. So I probably should have told it to put it on the drop down for mobile, because it's probably, you can probably see it on the desktop, but I'm not able to access it through that drop down. So if you can't access it through there, you can click here, so we can just navigate to it, but we're gonna fix that issue later. It's just an example. All right, so this is what it looks like. It's actually pretty ugly, so we're gonna change the UI, but the listings will look like this. And you know, obviously we're gonna make changes to this listing, to the UI for the listing. So I would prefer it to be more of a grid, sort of like when you go into like Etsy and you have a grid. So this is just the UI, and I don't think it made it to where we can click on it. Yeah, the buy now, we already have Stripe connected to this, so this has Stripe. We're using Supervised for the database and back end, hosting it through Lovable. There's other platforms you can host it through, and you know, let's just fix the small issues that we see off the bat, just to give you guys kind of like a more of an insight on how I work on this. So obviously on mobile we can't see it on the drop down, that's one. And for the listings themselves, the listing cards, we want it to be a grid that will look good on mobile and desktop. So we're just gonna say that just the way we just said it. When using a mobile device, I can't see the button to navigate to the store page. Fix that issue, please. Another issue that I have with the current design is the listing cards are stacked one above the other on the mobile device. I want it to be a grid view. I want it to look good, similar to how we would see on Etsy, for example. Make it 2 columns when on mobile, and make sure the UI looks clean and modern, similar to an Etsy page. So I honestly can't remember if the Etsy page actually has listings one stacked above the other, or if it's a grid of 2. But I feel like I would prefer the grid of at least, you know, 2 columns. That's just me. So let's see how it handles it. Alright, so we told it that, we just send it. That's it, guys. I mean, this is the process. This is what it's like to live in the future. You know, if you want to have your dinner while you're driving, you can do that too. I don't know, as long as you keep your eyes on the road. You know, just be ready to slam on the brake in case anything happens, which shouldn't. And if you guys want to see more of the content on Cybertruck, or maybe my process for how I build a platform from scratch using AI, from somebody who doesn't know how to code like an expert. I just understand coding, but I don't consider myself a coder, or a software developer, in other words. Then hit the like button, subscribe, you know, the typical YouTube stuff that we all do. Follow the channel, and yeah, you know, I'm gonna make this a series to along with this project that I'm working on, that's already live, or if you guys want to see the next project that I'm working on, which I'm pretty excited about. And it's gonna really test me to see how far my knowledge goes. And I'm not gonna give away too much on this video, but I'm also gonna make a series on that one, starting it from scratch, from, you know, from how I create the PRD, how I organize myself, and how I build everything to where things don't break. You know, a lot of you who are watching this video and use AI probably have had a lot of websites that you build, and then you get stuck, and you know, you just can't connect things to the back end, can't deploy it, can't, you know, you don't know how to use GitHub or whatever, then, you know, I will go through all those steps on my next project. I'm going to make sure to actually record every part of that project for you guys. And just because I didn't do it with this one, but I kind of wish I would have, because it would have, I feel like it would have been very helpful for a lot of people out there. So let's go to preview. Let's see what it did. So it fixed our listings, and now we have, I guess, 3 little photos with a card. I would have to check what, you know, what Etsy looks like. I know I have the app. Let's see what Etsy looks like. So Etsy does this. We can actually just feed it a, so this is like our homepage, right? As you can tell, I look at a lot of clip art because I'm trying to help out my wife with all this, and obviously it helps with my, that's what our, how we make money on our platform is by people creating these types of clip art. So we can generate these like nothing now, which is awesome. So I'm gonna go ahead and give it this. I'm gonna take a screenshot and just show it like what the store looks like, and I guess I should also give it a screenshot of the listing afterwards. So we're gonna go ahead and take a screenshot. Go back to Lovable, and we're gonna upload. Where is the button for that? Oh, there it is. So upload and blur out all my photos so you guys don't take any of my information. And we're gonna tell it just to make it look like this instead. I want you to make the page, the shop page, look like this. This is what Etsy looks like on a mobile device. It shows the thumbnail of the listing, and then when the user clicks on the thumbnail, then it'll show more information about the listing. Right now we're only focused on this view, so from what we can see, this is what it should look like. Fix our shop page to look identical to this, but obviously with our color theme for our platform, so that it flows from the generator page to this page without looking like we're in a different platform. It should look, in terms of the UI, the same as the main page for the theme. I probably over explained on that one, but it's fine. I should be able to understand what I'm trying to say. And it's gonna take the reference of the image, so now we can put the screenshot, it'll look at it, and it should make it just like the screenshot. We don't have any like placeholders for the thumbnails, but later on we'll go into like what we would do in terms of like how we want the, you know, the logic behind how we wanted to have the user, or actually the admin of the page. So I would, if I wanted to create a listing, it should, you know, allow the admin to put the thumbnail, which photo would you want to be the thumbnail, which what your title should be, what the description should be. You know, it should be almost identical to what it would be on the listing on Etsy. And so like the building of the process should be the same. And honestly, I wanted to just be able to like give it a link of the Etsy listing, and then it just uses all that information from the Etsy listing to, and plugs it into that listing. So, you know, basically it would just do all the copying and pasting for us, and then we can go in and edit it however we want afterwards. So that might be something that I just add to it, so save us time in terms of like, you know, and my wife wants to do that, she doesn't have to like create a title, copy and paste. Like you can just, you know, whatever you can imagine that you want to do, you very likely can when it comes to computers. So, there's no limit on what you can do. Like, I recommend you, go crazy, learn from your mistakes, push your limits. And so this is what it's gonna say. Key changes made, Etsy style header, clean tagline, pure 2-column grid, simplified cards, consistent theme, mobile first. Okay, cool. All right, so now that's what it looks like. And from here, we're gonna change that to be like one thumbnail listing instead of like a container of different photos of the digital products. And I believe you can't click on it yet. Yeah, so you have the search bar at the top, and so if we go from home to shop, I guess store, not shop. Dang, I keep calling it shop. I'm gonna confuse this AI. So luckily the AI is smart. All right, so that's our UI for this so far. Now we want to create the next page, which would be, after the user clicks on one of the listings, we want it to display like something similar to what this does, right? So take a screenshot. And is there a description on this? Who knows? Not that these things have descriptions. Alright, so we have reviews and I guess no description on the mobile version. Whatever, so we're gonna give it keep on moving. So it's trying to switch lanes. Another thing about the Cybertruck and full self-driving, if you're coming to the end of where you need to exit for the express lane, it might miss it, so you have to like pay attention to when you need to get off, because if you don't, then you're gonna miss your exit and you have to reroute. So just another tip. So we're gonna give it these two listings, and I'm gonna tell it good. Now when the user clicks on it, on one of the listings, the user should be shown the listing information and given the option to buy, similar to how it would happen on Etsy. Here are two screenshots of the page that is seen after the user clicks on the listing. I want you to add the UI for us to have a similar approach to what is shown here. Let's keep it simple. Send that, see what happens. So yeah, so see that exit right there, like maybe if it's on the left side, the Cybertruck, if it's on the left, it might not switch to get out of that, and then we would be on that ramp, and so we would have to do like a whole work around, and that's just something else that full self-driving is still not there in terms of like just lane selection. And to be fair, there's a lot of construction here, so these roads have changed so much in just like what, 2-3 months. They don't even look the same anymore. So the fact that it can drive around like changing roads is impressive, because I can tell you that if I love Google and I'm invested in Google, but if Waymo doesn't figure out a way to use Tesla's approach, they won't be able to do those type of things. You can't just pre-map, especially in a city like Miami that has constant construction. So just my hot take on that. And yeah, we would have been on that ramp over there. I don't even know if you guys can see that through the other camera. There's gonna be a lot of editing here, but yeah, I told myself I'm gonna start making more videos about, you know, the Cybertruck and also the process of like creating these things. So like I said, guys, if you guys are interested in any of that, like, subscribe. It really helps me out. I love the support, and these are just things I enjoy doing and I do enjoy creating the videos as well. So the fact that I can do all three at the same time is great. It's the world we live in. This is taking a little bit longer than usual, but so far, guys, we've built a new page, UI almost complete. You know, a lot of like minor things that we can change that we might not like, and we will change in the future before we publish it live. But so it's giving us a rundown on everything it did. Exact same functionality, percent files. Implemented. Okay, so it did a lot. I don't think it's done anything in the back end yet, which is good. We want to make sure that we keep telling it that it's just UI. I feel like for me personally, this is one of the things that works for me, is just create the UI first, and then, you know, once you have the UI, you can kind of connect, you know, the logic, implement logic, and implement like the back end, feed it the data from the database, make sure that you're creating the tables in the database. So all that comes with the approach. So I guess that's okay, so this is just a full image, I guess that's what that would be. So look at the UI. I mean, honestly, like, Lovable does a great job at creating UI, and I think they use, if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure that they're using Claude, because this is a similar approach to what, like, how Claude handles like their UI. It's like a UI specific to that. Gemini is great for, you know, just, I think Gemini is one of the best ones at coding. I heard Grok is really good too, but I don't use Grok, even though I paid for like the basic plan. I use it for some things, for like live information that I need, like, you know, if something just happened, I will ask Grok. But for coding, I prefer Gemini, just because it has a bigger, you know, you can give it like bigger files, and it won't like forget, and you can use it for coding a lot longer. Now Claude is also great from what I've heard, so it's like back and forth between Claude and Gemini. These buttons aren't working, it's all UI, but this is the UI so far. And if you're kind of like stuck, let's say, for example, let's say we didn't know where we want to go after this, in terms of like, you got this far and now you're stuck, and maybe you don't know what a developer would do in this case once we've built this page and we built the UI and it looks super nice and you're super happy with it, and you're just stuck. Then you would just ask, like, I'm gonna pretend I'm stuck here and I don't know what the next steps would be. I would just ask it, like, this looks great so far. Without making any changes, I want you to tell me what the next logical steps would be to be able to have this published live for users to start using it. I want you to be detailed in your response so that I can make sure to have a roadmap for myself. So that's it. You simply ask, you make sure that you tell it not to make any changes to the actual code. It's just gonna give you a response. I think there's a feature where you can just like ask it without like, I think it's called like chat mode or something. No, we are chat mode. I don't know. Anyway, I don't use that, so this is just how I do it. So then you have a breakdown here, and it's gonna give it to you like in weeks, kind of like a project plan. Storage system. Okay, so basically database schema plan. So yeah, you would have to design your database. So, you know, it's not common knowledge, and if you don't know what that means, you ask again. So you're basically going down a rabbit hole of information, and you're asking it to do it for you. And something to remember is that this AI might not remember what you told it. If you're like, you know, an hour into the conversation and you're like, oh, like, now I want to design the database schema after you like implemented an hour's worth of work to your UI, it might forget what exactly it said in this response. So you want to make sure that you maybe keep a checklist. What I like to do is I like to give it like a task list, and there's other AIs that help you with this. But for example, just to go over what it said, priority, yeah, so database schema design. So you would design your database to be able to implement this file storage system. So your storage buckets where you will have your images, purchase and credit system integration. So the credits, we wouldn't use credits for this. For these, we would actually use actual money. So we would implement, we already have Stripe implemented. So we would just create a new one-time purchase, you know, flow for these specific listings that we're posting. So each one will have like its own title and stuff and its own price, and then it would be a one-time purchase from a user just landing on this page. And just, you know, if they're only there for the purpose of purchasing that digital product. Purchase flow, which, you know, would be very simple. Stripe takes care of that. If you don't know how to implement Stripe, this thing does it for you, and I will probably go over it on the next video, just so this video doesn't get too long, and because this video is more for like the Cybertruck and what my process is during the drive. User experience and security, authentication, integration. Okay, so maybe we don't want the user to have to be authenticated. Honestly, like I feel like this one should be public. It should be a public page that somebody can just, if they see a Facebook ad and they want to purchase that digital product, then they could just purchase it without having to create an account. There's no reason to create that barrier to that extra hurdle for the purchase. Ratings and review system. I feel like this is something that I would want to add. Will it be on the first iteration of it? Maybe not. Maybe, I don't know, depending on how hard it is to implement it. I might or might not do it. Find out on the next video. Admin and control content management, creators dashboard. So this is thinking that that the users of the platform are going to be posting on the store, which is not my intent. So we're not going to do that, which would actually be a cool idea to implement. But to keep it simple, I only want it to be so that my wife can sell her stuff without having to pay like all the Etsy fees if they see it on an ad or something. Admin panel. The admin panel should just be able to allow her to list it similar to how you would list it on Etsy. Or I also want to add a shortcut where you could just plug in the link from her Etsy, and then it'll just like, you know, scrape all that data and bring it over. Not sure how I would do that yet, but I'll find out. Performance and scale. I don't think that's going to be an issue. Mobile optimization. So if you wanted to put on mobile and desktop, should be a desktop version of it. Business and legal. I don't think there's going to be a lot of problems with that. I think Stripe takes care of a lot of those things. Marketing integration. Okay, so this is going into like a rabbit hole. Like it was very detailed in what you need to do. Don't get overwhelmed by it. Don't go down that rabbit hole. Keep it simple. Publish a simple version of it first, and then go from there. So that's my advice for this. So right now, this is what we have, and now we know where we need to go from here. So we just gotta plug in the back end, and then, you know, in the next video, I'll show you guys how to, you know, basically have it to where the admin user can create these listings, and how the Stripe system is implemented, and also how we're gonna figure out how we can even implement the other, you know, way of scraping out the information from the link if it's possible, so that it can save her all the time of having to copy and paste stuff that she just wants it to be exactly like the listing. So we're gonna find that out too, and then photos and all that stuff. But yeah, guys, I mean, we're almost to our destination. Cybertruck's maneuvering around, trying to get a faster way into the right lane so that it can just make a right from the right instead of having to wait for the light to turn green. But yeah, guys, let me know what you guys think. Like, subscribe. I know I said it before, but if you like these videos, let me know down below. If you have any ideas of something that you know, maybe you're struggling with, if you're somebody who codes with AI and you're stuck with, or if you have any questions about the Cybertruck that maybe I didn't cover, I will be making a video about the things I like and don't like about the Cybertruck, and I will be making more videos about how I create a platform from scratch. So outside of that, until next time, guys, thank you for watching. Goodbye. Look at that, crossed all those lanes. If you look back at my videos, that didn't happen before, but it went from a right turn from a right lane all the way through what? How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lanes. Good job, Cybertruck. All right, now for real. Later, guys.